Step 2. Remove the table for ease of installation. First, you need to remove the gray knobs and the metal guides located beneath the table. You must support the table as you dismantle it so it doesn't fall and break your toes. This can be done by pressing the table into the sander with your legs or hips. So start on the front side of the table. Unscrew the gray knob all the way. Then remove the washer. Lift up on the table to remove all force from the metal guide, and then remove the guide. Note that the guide has a groove that mates with an extrusion along the bottom of the table.
You might scan and see if
You have the exact same setup on the back side of the machine, so you'll repeat the same steps to remove first the knob, then the washer, and then the metal guide. And once the supports on both sides have been removed, you can go ahead and lift up and carefully place the table on the ground, out of the way where you won't trip on it. Step 3. Remove the old sandpaper. First, you'll use the heat gun to warm up the disc, which will loosen the adhesive and make it possible to insert the chisel between the sandpaper and the metal disc. Be careful not to aim the heat gun at your hand or any other body part because you could burn yourself. Heating the adhesive will help the sandpaper to come off more easily and reduce the amount of tearing. Once the sanding disc has been removed, there will be adhesive stuck to the metal disc, so you can use the lacquer thinner and a shop rag to clean the surface. You don't want any excess adhesive because you need a clean surface for best results when attaching the new sandpaper. So use the rag and lacquer thinner and clean the metal until the surface is clear. Step 4. Replace the sandpaper. Take your new sandpaper and peel away half of the backing and fold that part of the backing down. Slide the sandpaper down next to the disc. Be careful not to press the adhesive onto the metal disc. Carefully line up the top half of the sandpaper along the edge of the disc and press the paper back against the disc. Then rotate the disc so that the other half is exposed. Remove the rest of the backing and attach the other half of the sandpaper. Step 5. Replace the tape. Make sure you have the correct guides on each side. The one for the front of the machine has a screw hole in it with a clip. Put the guides back into place, carefully lining up the different screws in the appropriate holes. Then replace your washers. you'll replace the knobs. Start with the one in front, but only go a few turns, just enough to get it started. Once it's seated on the screw, slide the guide out until it's flush against the knob. Do the same thing on the other side. This allows us to set up the guides without worrying about them lining up with the table. Once you've done this, lift up the table and position it where you want it to be. Hold it in place with your hips. Slide the guides over to it and make sure that the grooves on the guides have mated properly with the extrusions on the table. Once the table is seated properly in the guide, you can tighten the knob, but not all the way. Do the same on the back side, and do tighten this knob completely. Make sure the table is level before you finish completely securing it in place. Once you've done that, you've successfully changed the sandpaper on the disc sander. Good job.